Hey guys, Louis here. Welcome back to Acorn Hill. Welcome back to our channel, our collective channel, and I hope you all are having a good day. I want to thank you guys and especially to our new subscribers who have stumbled on the channel and who have been commenting and giving me positive reviews and questions related to gardening, lawn, related to cooking and entertaining, and just being a good steward of what we have. We really appreciate your presence on the channel. As always, I'm extending an open invite to all of you out there who haven't subscribed yet. Consider clicking on that subscribe button, like our videos, chime in, send in some questions, comment, and tell me how I'm doing, and tell me what else I need to be tackling on the channel. This channel is all about homesteading, so right now, currently, what is going on is the growing season here in North Carolina. We're doing a lot of gardening, building, organizing, and sharing some unique and practical ideas along the way to you guys. Alright, now that we got that out of the way, this video is about picking up where we left off the last time I was showing you the problematic area on our property line. As you can see from this clip, I was rearranging all those cherry trees that unfortunately died because they became waterlogged. I was keen on planting after I purchased them, and I planted them directly into that clay soil, not knowing that the terrain between our property and my neighbors has a serious slope. And that slope has collected a lot of water, too much water, clay soil, plants that are trying to survive, not a good mix. And that what happened was a lot of root rot, and all those 4 Yoshino trees died. Here's a clip of what they looked like back in early autumn of 2020. You see those long white stakes that are marked and stuck into the ground? Well, they were the support system, the support stakes for the individual cherry trees that I got a few months ago. Whereas those stakes were located and planted right next to the live cherry trees, well, after 2 months from this clip last year, you can barely see the trees anymore because all 4 of them died from root rot. By the same token, you notice there's a lot of weeds, like a localized section of weeds that have grown just around this specific area alone. Well, that's because of the moisture. A lot of these unnecessary weeds have grown within this microclimate. The last time that we were together on this topic of my reclamation project on this area, I was able to show you an aerial view of our property with our house and the property line that I'm talking about. In this clip, I will be sketching and mapping out 3 distinctive triangular areas that will become the borders and the raised perennial herbaceous garden beds that I will be building as we tackle this area. Raised garden beds will allow these plants to grow on soil that is healthy, not waterlogged, and with very good drainage. And here is that area now. What you're seeing on the clip is one of the 3 triangular raised garden beds that have those blocks, modular blocks that anchor pressure-treated wood. They're about 8 inches high. They provide good barrier for soil to be contained within, and this is where we will be planting different perennials. Now that I was able to think of a better way to outdo and outsmart this area, now we need good soil. Soil that will provide good planting environment and growing medium for any plant and select perennials that we will be planting here in this area and we will be building throughout the season. Here's the soil that I ordered. It's actually compost, 100% organic compost that I got from a local source. It was delivered, all 8 cubic yards of it, on my driveway. What I did was I made sure that I've got this extra wide, extra large blue tarp to protect the driveway from getting all the debris, really just keeping it neat and simple. I want to make sure that it's easy to haul, easy to clean, and easy to collect throughout the time that I will be doing and tackling this project. Good lessons about gardening and growing, you learn from failures. But I had plans, and after a few months, actually close to a year of having that failure, I am now set to reclaim, reestablish, and perhaps rebuild that area, forming it into a more functional, practical, and an area that will become a garden room in itself. So here's how I started. After mapping out the exact location of the triangles with their precise 90-degree angles, I have dug trenches, and these trenches will act not only for accommodation to level the pressure treated wood that I will be setting in place, it will also act as French drain so that all the water that will be draining from the lawn area, the expansive lawn that is to the left of this area, will now drain into this trench and will be redirected away from my property and away from my neighbor's property as well. So it's a win-win. Alright, so now after having set all those modular cement blocks, it is now time for me to set the pressure treated wood that I will now use to act as a fence or a retaining wall to contain all the soil and the debris that I plan on using for planting in this area. Same as with the video that I showed you earlier, guys, on how I created planting areas and planting medium for my vegetable garden for these herbaceous beds, I will also be applying the lesson in the concept of Hugelkultur. Hugelkultur just means basically you have compost material underneath, any debris, any raw carbon and nitrogen material, leaves, dried twigs, or anything like that will be placed right on the bottom of this garden bed, and on top of it is where we will place clippings, grass clippings that I have been collecting last year since I did my lawn renovation project. All these grass clippings have been kept in big black bags and they have been decomposing, and I ended up having bags of loam that is made from remnant soil from the roots of these grass clippings and the grass clippings themselves. This will be very rich in nitrogen, and on top of this nitrogen element we will be placing the organic compost that I ordered. For a link on the video of the Hugelkultur project that I did recently, I will put up a link on the description box of this video, and also I'll make sure that there's a card that you could link right on the screen. Now back to the clip and back to what I'm doing. Looking good so far. I use a spirit level just to make sure that all those molds, the concrete molds that hold the pressure treated wood, is provided with good level and that there's not wonky elements and wonky spaces within this area that I'm working in. By the way, the forsythia, these green bushes that you see in the foreground right on the back of the triangle, those used to have yellow leaves, and the yellow leaves was caused by, again, the beginnings of root rot. Now I was able to salvage about 8 of these individual forsythia bushes that I also planted the same time as when I planted those cherry trees. Now, just as a side note, I am pretty thrilled at the amount of garden loam I was able to produce from the amount of garden clippings that I had from my lawn renovation project last year. It really was a good thing that I bagged them into these black garbage bags. The heat, the moisture, and months of it sitting in my backyard has turned it into a valuable resource for all these nutrients to be brought back into the earth. And because I have clay soil, all this garden loam will now allow for the heavy water-clogged clay to become loose, and slowly over time we'll get better micronutrients and micro-ingredients that the earthworms will now try to convert, and all the other microbes in the soil will convert into good soil. And that for me again is another win-win. Alright, so far I've shown you 2 triangular garden beds that I've just filled up with loam and compost. Right now I'm showing you on another day I was able to collect fresh grass clippings from a recent mow job, so I figured I'd put this as the middle layer for this garden bed. Underneath this layer of fresh grass clippings, I have the Hugelkultur material, dried up twigs, greenery, the native clay soil which were remnants from the trenches that I dug, and this will again over time decompose and do its thing as it's being covered by the compost that I will use for the top layer. Okay, after I've tamped down all that middle layer of grass clipping, it is now time to really fill this up with good compost. And you know, it's straightforward. I used my wooden DIY wheelbarrow, collected all the compost that I could collect from the driveway. And here's how one of those triangular garden beds looks like. It is properly filled with compost, tamped down but not too hard and not too compacted. I want the soil here to still hold its shape, still well draining, and still could crumble if I need to crumble it. Good friability, as they say, as the horticulturists would say. The next step on this project is to lay out my drip irrigation, which here I will be using the 1/2-inch brown tubing that I like using for all the garden beds that I have built, planned out, and planted in so far. These brown tubings, drip irrigation tubings, can be bought at big box hardware stores, and this is a Rainbird brand. Very even distribution of holes. They're usually between 6 inches, and I like that because it provides even watering and even moisture so that we could get better watering schedule for all of these plants that I plan on putting in this pot. To lay this down properly on top of the compost, I have marked out lines where all these brown tubings would be properly and appropriately cut, connected, and placed right on top. The black tubing that you see right now contains live water, and that's in intervals. This is where I am putting different sections of T's and elbows and couplers that I will use to connect all of these brown tubings at certain sections and at certain segments. Doing this, I was able to form a matrix, a grid system where all the water can be evenly distributed. There are several squares and quadrants. All different types of planting material will be placed in. Over time, this entire area will be evenly moist so that no plant material will suffer from non-watering. I hope you guys enjoyed the short video, and thanks again for being a part of our channel. This is a part of the series of this renovation project for this problematic area, and I will be putting up a playlist on this if you are interested in watching all the other videos. Thanks again everyone for being a part of this video, and we'll see you back soon here in Acorn Hill. Bye bye for now.